guys, this is SilKing52, and I'm linking all of my first-party Nintendo controllers that I own. Now, some rules. First rule, I have to own it. Duh. Second rule, it can't be made by a third party, except there's one exception, because it's close enough to the controller, and I'll explain why when we get to that controller. And, yeah. Now, first off, let's get to the first one. Alright, so on the very bottom of our list, we got these. The Joycons. Now, so many people wonder why. And they're small. That's why. Now, I get it. They're meant to fit on the Switch itself. And you also have this, which makes it more than a more traditional controller. But it's still too small for my liking. And also, Joy-Con drift is a thing, so. And this D-pad. Yeah, this D-pad, I know they had to do it for like, you can make it two different controls, but man, I just don't like it. That's why I have a third party left Joy-Con that has an actual D-pad on my Switch, so yeah. Alright, next controller, which is the controller I talked about, said with third party, my third party N64 controller. Now, this is third party because the Nintendo logo is not there, but it's almost like the real deal. And yeah, also I have like Wii controller. If y'all watched my one of my unboxing videos, you'd know I unboxed a Wii Pro controller, Wii Classic Pro controller, and they were third party, of course. But the problem was that they were too stiff. But this one's not stiff, and so that's why I listed this one on the list and those not. But besides that, this is a very nice controller. Besides the whole weird design, but that never bothered me in the first place. So next controller is gonna be the most controversial one for some of you. This is the GameCube controller. Now, this GameCube controller does a lot of things right. That's why it's still being made for Smash today. And it was the Smash controller. Like, it was built for Smash. But it has nice sounds. And it's nice, except my hands are too big, but let's see, it's the official one. It's too big. My hands are too big, but it's not as small as the Joy-Cons, so it's still a nice controller. But there's two glaring problems. First off, we gotta address the ant in the room. My goodness, is this a small D-pad? Like, my goodness, this is a small D-pad. My whole entire thumb is bigger than this D-pad. And if you ever want to play Super Nintendo games with this controller, just pick a different controller, because let's say you want to play Super Mario World. Well, the one button is the Y and the B button is the jump. So you have to, if you want to constantly run and jump, you gotta hold the controller like this. And the A button is spin jump, and so you gotta hold it like this. And then Yeah, you see why this is not a good design for playing more traditional levels? You see why? It's very uncomfortable, and so that's why it takes third for the worst. Takes for the third worst spot. Now we're getting on to the good controllers. Well, actually, no. Now we're getting on to the halfway better controllers. So, the Wii U Pro controller. Now, I'll get one thing I don't like. I'm gonna say one thing I don't like about this. These. Why is this right here when it can be right here and the buttons are on the bottom? Now, it's good for the D-pad and for D-pad games with, you know, games you play with the D-pad. So you go like this. So yeah, I think this is really good classic games for SNES, because I can just press all my buttons. So one jump, spin jump. So yeah. And these are not very good, like at all. But it's a really nice feeling controller, and so that's why it beated the other controllers. Next controller is we're still on the Wii U. This honking bad boy. Now, I put like decals on my Wii U Wii U gamepad for whatever reason. I don't know why. Just please don't say anything. But it's a really nice feeling controller, especially with me having big hands. It's really nice, and it has the same problem with the Pro controller, but since it's such a big controller, it makes sense with this. And these things are much more better. And yeah, it's a really nice controller, but it gets outbeat by other controllers. Next one would be also controversial, but the Wii Remote and Nunchucks. Well, I paired these together because why not? Because we basically need both of these together for like Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2 for those games and some other games. So they're basically required. They're basically the same controller together. But without the thing, it's still a really nice controller. And it works as a controller like this on the side. But this is a really nice feeling controller, and it might be some of my bias, but I really like this controller. It feels nice, and it's like really works well. And also, I got the Mario Wii Remote with Motion Plus inside. And it mainly is because I played Mario Kart Wii with this combination for so long, and that I'm just used to it. And so, for the final and my favorite controller is this bad boy right here. This is just pure goodness. It's just so good. I mean, like, it's just, I can't say to describe it, but it's just an amazing controller. It's amazing for your hands. It's really nice and big. The buttons are nice and big, and it's my main controller for whenever I'm playing on my Switch. And like, if I want to play my Switch on the go, I'd bring this controller with me and just have my Switch in like tabletop mode. And it's really a good controller. Like, a very amazing controller. If you had an option to get a controller and you don't like the Joycons for the Switch, and you're getting it on the Switch, you don't like the Joycons, get this controller. It may be expensive, but it's worth it. It's amazing controller, and I'll see you later. Bye.